to Ready for the Weekend episode 8. I'm Liam, you're on the Blade Sports channel, where myself and Kev run through our 5 must-see sporting events for the weekend and give you a run through and our predictions. Usually I'm horribly wrong, usually Kev is slightly better. Coming up this week we have MMA and football. It's a slightly less weird weekend than last weekend, where we had a bunch of odd stuff that we wouldn't normally follow, but with the end of the football season we've had a bit more variation. This week we're looking at the start of the Euros, the Copa America, the UFC, and we're at the Clarissa Shields debut for the PFL. So yeah, we hope you enjoy. We kick things off this weekend with the headline fight for UFC 263, the big rematch for the middleweight title between Israel Adesanya and Marvin Vettori. Adesanya coming off the first loss of his career to Jan Blachowicz, trying to jump up a weight class and win the light heavyweight belt to do the whole champ thing. Vettori on a 5-fight win streak, whose last loss was to Adesanya by a slightly controversial split decision that most of the pundits and experts in that thought he won. Since then, both fighters have come on quite a distance. Adesanya, the consensus best guy at middleweight. I mean, he has the belt, and nobody's really come close to taking it off of him since he got it. He's cleaned out most of the top guys in the division. Totally makes sense for Vettori to get to the front of the queue now. Only thing is that Vettori really hasn't fought the caliber of guy that Adesanya has, but most of what he has done, he's done pretty convincingly. He's coming off the win against Kevin Holland, where he made him look a fool. Just kept him on the floor. Holland had no answer to him whatsoever. He has the wrestling advantage. Adesanya, the clear striking advantage. You're going to keep him at range, use that elite level kickboxing that nobody has really figured out yet, except for Blachowicz, but a lot of that could be put down to the huge weight discrepancy. Pretty fun in the build up to this. Both guys very, very verbal, and it's been quite entertaining. It'll be super interesting, going back to fight style wise, if Vettori can get Adesanya to the ground and keep him there and just eat up time. It's probably his best path to victory. Obviously, Adesanya's been gradually improving his ground game and stuff like that, but you're mainly looking at this from the perspective of, the classic sort of striker versus wrestler. They're both well more rounded than that, but it's essentially what it bears down to again. Can one guy keep him on the floor? Can the other keep it on the feet? I'm going to lead Adesanya here. I just think that 185 is his domain, and since these two guys have come on, Vettori has got better, but Adesanya has got considerably better. So yeah, I'm going to say Adesanya here, and I'm going to say it's going to be a decision.
In the UFC middleweight, we have Adesanya versus Vettori. Two fighters, very, very different fighting abilities. We have Vettori mainly for his boxing and his wrestling tactics, and we have Adesanya with his long reach and his kickboxing. Two fighters' similarities would be their kickboxing, definitely using their feet a lot more. As in their previous match, they hit their shins a lot. Very entertaining, as they both dislike each other. Apart from Adesanya's last win, I might go for the win for Vettori, as Adesanya has a major weakness dealing with wrestling, and Vettori will probably capitalize on that. So I would definitely go for Vettori on decision for that one.
So, unusual situation here, where actually both of the headline fights for this pay-per-view, well, I mean, the Diaz-Edwards fight is one of the headline fights as well, but the co-main and main event are both rematches here, so unusual occasion, so super interesting. This was an amazing fight first time around. Figueiredo Moreno, flyweight title rematch. Was a draw last year, by majority draw. One judge gave it to Figueiredo, who really, he does look by a distance the best guy in this division. Only one loss in his record. That was a decision back in 2019. And when these guys went at it last year, Figueiredo was ill, and that brought his performance level down by a considerable amount. But Moreno really rose to the occasion and hung in there. He ate a lot of shots, and there was the loss of a point for the low blow and stuff like that. So he did have luck on his side as well. I mean, that point would have made a huge difference, and Figueiredo would have come away the winner. But a worthy rematch. I don't think there's much competition for another number one contender. I mean, I think Brandon Royval's probably the next guy. Benavidez has had so many shots that he probably isn't getting another one. But yeah, Figueiredo, super aggressive. He's going to go and try and pin Moreno back and put so much pressure on him. Throw heavy shots and try and get him out early. Moreno, he stood there with him a lot in the first fight and left himself open to hit with major shots, but he proved he could take them. Took a lot of damage, but yeah, he's a volume striker. He doesn't hit anywhere near as heavy as Figgy, but he throws a lot of combinations and flurries of shots that are going to try and, climb, sort of fight with attrition and try and, gradually grind him down shot for shot. Not point fighting, but, throw as much as possible and hope that the sort of accumulation of damage will win him the fight. But yeah, I think looking at how dominant he has been in most of the other fights and taking into account the food poisoning incident, I'm leaning Figueiredo here, and I think he puts Moreno away this time. So I'm going to go Figueiredo by knockout.
In the UFC flyweight, we have Davison versus Moreno. I'm going to stick with Davison because I'm not going to attempt his last name. Two fighters are very similar, as in they throw very fast and very powerful punches. And Davison would be more harder punches, but not as frequent. And Moreno would be more fighting with, basically would tell any punches come at him. Very tough guy. I'll probably go with Moreno for this one. Despite Davidson's last win, the fact that he can actually take those punches and keep going is astonishing, and I might actually go for a win for him. So I might go for an upset here, and it's going to say it's a win by decision by Moreno.
Okay, so just to clarify this beforehand, this was recorded Thursday afternoon. It's probably going to come out Friday when this fight's already happened, but it was recorded in advance. I didn't just watch it and do the pick anyway. But yeah, next up is Clarissa Shields' MMA debut as she takes on Brittany Elkins at PFL 4. This is the Clarissa Shields show. She's main eventing a UFC or an MMA pay-per-view on her debut. So it's a showcase for what she can or can't do. 11-0 pro boxer, 77-1 amateur record. The consensus greatest female boxer of all time, holding WBA, WBC, IBF and WBO belts simultaneously in 2 weight classes, as well as a double Olympic gold medalist. You cannot argue with her boxing resume, but we have no idea if she can transfer most of that to MMA. Small gloves, grappling, threat of takedown. Who knows? I mean, we've seen boxers do horribly badly in MMA. We've seen boxers do really well. I mean, who knows? I mean, we've seen Brock Lesnar be a UFC heavyweight champion. It's a weird sport, and this is going to be a really interesting showcase to see if she can make the transition over. She's jumping over, having complained about fighter pay in boxing for women, and decided to sign with the PFL over the likes of the UFC and Bellator. It's an interesting starting point where she's not going to go in against elite level talent, and as is the case here. But there's also not a whole lot of women that can get to 155 pounds where this fight is taking place and realistically challenge someone with that level of athletic background. I mean, she's been quite vocal towards Amanda Nunes, but I mean, Amanda Nunes is a 135 pounder that jumped up to fight at 145. You're asking for another 10 pounds on her. Shields, she's been training at Jackson Wink along with John Jones and Holly Holm, so she's in like elite level company to help her transition to MMA. And it looks like a gimme. I don't want to be overly disrespectful, but come on, a 3-6 record, predominantly a grappler. Looking through her Tapology page, Brittany Elkins has competed a lot in competitive grappling over the last 12 months, having not fought MMA, but she is also on a 3-fight losing streak in MMA. So, yeah, interestingly, she also fought Kayla Harrison, a woman who's drawing a lot of comparisons to Clarissa Shields as a highly decorated athlete from another sport in judo coming over. But I think this is it's shaping up to be a Clarissa Shields showcase, and if she has any level of adaptability to transition to MMA, I think she comes away with a finish here and looks pretty impressive doing it. While not going to be something that gets her a ton of accolades for, oh wow, what an amazing start to your MMA career, it'll be a starting point that she can build on and ease her way into mixed martial arts. So yeah, I'm taking Clarissa Shields by knockout.
In the MMA, we have Clarissa Shields versus Brittany Elkins. Two fighters completely different, as in Shields hasn't even fought in MMA before, but has an astonishing boxing record, and only 26, which is incredible. Elkins, a little bit unfortunate with a 3 loss streak so far, but has more experience in MMA. Clarissa clearly has nearly won everything in boxing, so obviously more inclined to actually go into another sport, and see how she goes from there. Now, obviously, looking at from this first fight, she can actually make a decision if she wants to keep the sport up or she might stick with boxing. But despite not fighting in MMA, I'm actually going for Clarissa Shields. I'm very amazed if she actually wins this, but I'll probably put my bet on her and see how she might win. Maybe not knockout, but just but hopefully by decision. So.
It's Euro 2020, but not in 2020, and yeah. So the Euros are happening, and we are going with the opening game of the tournament as Turkey take on Italy, which should be tonight because this is coming out Friday, I think. Yeah. Italy-Turkey. Opening up the Euros, if you want to see more of my horrendous predictions, I did a full prediction of the Euros on Thursday, so check that out if you want to laugh at how horrendously wrong. I get it. Italy won both of their pre-tournament games against the mighty San Marino and the Czech Republic, and haven't conceded a goal all year. Managed by Roberto Mancini, they have loads of familiar names, a couple of really, really exciting youngsters in the squad as well. The thing I'm most interested in Italy is that in an era where everybody else is transitioning to a back three, the team who are traditionally the masters of a back three have gone with a back four. Whether they're ahead of the curve or are just trying to be overly creative, I don't know, but be interesting to see. It's just a really interesting thing where everybody in the Premier League at international level seems obsessed with the three at the back formation, that the guys who play three at the back aren't. Turkey, I think, could be a bit of a dark horse in the tournament to reach at least sort of the quarterfinals. Didn't have the best of pre-tournament warm-ups, a draw with Guinea and a victory over Moldova, so not against the highest level of competition, but they are a team that beat Holland 4-2 in the World Cup qualifiers, as well as thrashing Norway 3-0. Heavy on domestic names, as well as some much more recognised names in Sayuncu, Shalanoglu, Yilmaz. And while they are ranked 32nd in the world, it seems a little bit harsh, and I think they could be a team that potentially cause some upsets. But I think tournament opener, I really like the Italians in this tournament and think they could go a long way. So I'm going to say 2-1 win for Italy, but I do think this could be a really, really fun game. While not overly attacking, it could be a real tactical battle between two teams I do think will do quite well.
In the opening games for the Euros, we have Italy versus Turkey. Italy hoping to redeem themselves after not qualifying for the World Cup in their last tournament, and seems to be doing well so far. Haven't lost a game yet this year, and hasn't conceded a goal yet. Very, very dominant team this year. Could be making to the semi-finals at least. They're really, really good. But again, it's only open game so far, so we'll see how it goes. They're hoping to get at least their first win. Turkey, a lot of domestic players, but still a very, very good team. Had a few upsets. Could even create this upset as well. But I think Italy might go for the win here, as they'll be a bit more harder actually to lose. So I might go, and the fact I actually had conceded a goal, very, very tough to actually win against them. So I'll go for a 2-0 win for Italy.
As of right now, on Thursday evening when I'm recording this, the Copa America is still happening. That could change by the time this video even gets released. I mean, sponsors are pulling out, fans are trying to encourage the players to boycott the tournament entirely. it's a bit of a mess. But as of recording this, we have picked the tournament opener between the now hosts Brazil and Venezuela. So here's hoping that we don't have the second football match in a total of 8 episodes of this that we predict that doesn't even end up happening. This Copa America thing has been a complete mess so far. It was supposed to be a joint host between Argentina and Colombia, then both of them pulled out, and Brazil accepted it despite being in an absolute mess due to everything that's going on. So here's hoping that we end up with a game to watch on Sunday from South America. Brazil are huge favourites for this tournament. I mean, not just this game alone, but they're outright favourites to win as the hosts and current holders of the trophy. All the big names you come to expect are currently, as of right now, still playing. Hopefully, maybe, probably. They've only played once this year, which was a 2-0 win over Ecuador last Saturday. As of doing these notes, I may have missed one if they played another warm-up game, but I think it was just once this year. And they won the last tournament by beating Peru 3-1 in the 2019 final. Venezuela are the third highest odds to win the tournament. It's ridiculous. I mean, only Paraguay and Bolivia are worse odds, or better odds, depending on how you look at it. They're really not fancied much in this tournament. They have a couple of interesting players, though. I mean, a guy I rate hugely, but who is still on the rehab from a very, very bad long-term injury in Joseph Martinez. He was out for over a year with an ACL injury, and their captain, Thomas Rincon, is the sort of stalwart anchor midfielder in Italy, currently Torino's main anchor midfielder, and, well, a veteran in the team. He's a very, very reliable anchor midfielder who is, he's their captain and one of the main senior figures in this Venezuela team. I am not going to go out and try and predict an upset here. I think Brazil are going to turn them over if the game happens, and I am not going to guess that this doesn't happen. Well, there's a very high chance this game never happens or gets put back a year. I'm going to say a 3-0 win for Brazil here. They traditionally do well at tournaments. They're hosts. There's controversy, but I don't think that's going to be enough to really, really upset the team. And I think they're going to be professional and seriously make a statement win in the tournament opener on home soil. So, yeah, I'm going to say a 3-0 win for Brazil here.
In the Copa America, we have Brazil taking on Venezuela. Brazil taking the news by hosting the tournament, despite the fact they have a major rise in cases. So, the news is still ongoing whether the competition might go ahead, as the players are hoping to boycott it. But again, we'll see how this game goes first. Brazil favourites to win the tournament. Decent team. A lot of players coming from the European stages. And then Venezuela, a bit more domestic. I might go for Brazil. Obviously hot favourites. And I might go for even a 3-0 win, because you see the players, a lot of young player talent in the team, and they can take the team going forward. So that would be my predictions for that game.
Okay, so that wraps up our picks for episode 8 of Ready for the Weekend. Stacked weekend with UFC, PFL, the Bellator card I wanted to cover, but we just didn't have space for it this week. The Copa America. It's a jammed week of stuff, and I'm presuming if the tournament football rolls on through next week, that's most of what we'll be doing then as well. But yeah, fortunately I finally won a week and pulled back the deficit, so I'm now only 1 point behind Kev heading into this week. So having not seen his predictions yet, I'm really, really hopeful that I can actually either level or get in front this week. Anyway, let us know your predictions in the comments below, and if there's anything you want us to cover next week, because unless it's really the Euros and the Copa, we're probably not going to cover too much else, unless there's something that really grabs our attention. But let us know what you think we should cover in the comments below. And until then, we will see you next time.